Now, we'll start with the Redwall books. You've done so many different amazing things in your career. You've illustrated 6 of the Redwall series books, by the late British author Brian Jacques. Can you tell us about this collaboration?
Sure. Well, actually, it's 7 of those books.
Sorry.
Because there was an anniversary edition of the first of the Redwall series that I illustrated as well. I did some of the interior illustrations for that, which is great. Well, that kind of came out of the blue, that whole thing. It really wasn't a collaboration in the sense that I had very much to do with Brian. I was, in fact, the 4th of the illustrators that worked on that series. And for those of your listeners who don't really know those books, they've sort of probably become less fashionable now. They're animal fantasy books, almost a mixture between Robin Hood and The Wind in the Willows, I suppose. And they're set in forests. And Brian Jacques was a very interesting character. I mean, he was a mariner, he was a comedian, he was a TV star, he was a very good writer, and he obviously had a really strong interest in the British wildlife and the countryside and folklore, and so they were great books to illustrate. I ended up doing the interior spots, which are sort of technical term for the little black and white drawings that start up each chapter. And Brian, by the time I was poured into the books, had a worldwide audience of millions, and so they could afford to spend money on illustrations for the interior of the book, which was great for me. And I inherited certain kinds of things that were already going on with the illustrations from other illustrators. And the reason I got picked was Brian had decided to stop originating his Redwall series in the UK and brought them over to Penguin in America. And there was a really great editor there called Paddy Gouch who wanted to start on a new footing, I suppose, sort of a new broom, and so she hauled me in as the illustrator for it, and I still am not quite sure how she even found out about me, but I think it might have had something to do with Joy Cowley. But I just got a phone call from New York saying, would you like to illustrate the books? And of course, what could I say? It was a fantastic opportunity, and in the end it turned out as a wonderful collaboration, more not between me and Brian, but between myself and the art director at Philomel in New York, who was a wonderful mentor. And because I had to do so many drawings, I mean, there was about 45 in each book, and I used to do I suppose it's either a weakness or a strength, but I spent a lot of time actually working out compositions and doing little rough drawings. So I used to probably do maybe about a dozen drawings for each of the ones that turned up in the books. And so if you think of 45 times 10, that's 450 drawings. And each one of them was really just a little matchbox size. So it was a fantastic opportunity for me to practice my skills as an illustrator and see if I could get the compositions and the characters to work better and better in each one of the books. There was also another nice aspect to the books too, was that it's always nice to have a kind of ownership over a book. Even when somebody else has actually written the book, if you can find something that is particularly yours, I think that makes a real difference to your enthusiasm for doing the drawings. And my time at Edinburgh Zoo was great. I mean, it was a sad place, really, I suppose, to work, in the sense that the animals were all caged. But on the other hand, it was wonderful to be close to so many different animals like that. But the most wonderful part of it was that the zoo itself was a refuge for so many little wild Scottish animals who lived in the zoo itself, and they used it They built their sets and the nests and things in there, so the place was absolutely alive with foxes and badgers and squirrels and a lot of the animals that actually turned up in Redwall itself. And there was a hill called Corstorphine Hill. It's interesting. Here we call it Corstorphine. In fact, it's Corstorphine in Edinburgh. And I kind of, all the way through those books, I was able to set the stories and the drawings that I was doing on that hill, and they were the foxes and the badgers that I'd seen running around the zoo. So that was a lovely connection for me, and I really enjoyed doing the books. So they're fantastic.